prayer for myself mostly. But I'm just asking the Holy Spirit to give me the wisdom and the knowledge and the things to say today that will touch everybody's heart that's here, at least somebody. I just going to tell you a little bit about my life, just for a minute, if you don't mind. Don't bore you too bad. Some of you already know, some of you don't. But I didn't have any church background, no, like a lot of people, of any kind. I never belonged to a Catholic church or a Methodist or any of them. I just grew up, like I always told about it for a long, long time, younger before I got in with this church and stuff. I used to tell everybody, well, they talk about their kids and they'd be watching over and all the time. I said, just let them go. I said, they're like a weed. They'll just grow up if you just leave them alone. Well, basically, that's how I grew up, like a weed. I just grew up with basically doing pretty much what I wanted to do. My parents weren't the bad parents. They just didn't know any better. They wasn't into church either, or any kind of a structure thing. They both worked hard. My dad worked all the time. In fact, I hardly ever seen him because he worked every hour overtime. They'd let him work. So whenever he was home, he was busy doing something. You know what I mean? He was always taking care of stuff. And so I kind of just made my own way as I went along. It wasn't a very good way, I will tell you that. As I know now, I thought it was good, having a lot of fun, I thought. But what the thing says here, what the book says about in 2 Corinthians, I'm sorry, not 2nd. I've had about 4 or 5 stories that I wanted to tell, and I'd get one, and then I'd something else, and then a couple times there was somebody else said something else, and I thought, so finally I just decided, well, I'm just going to let the Holy Spirit do it, and I don't have to fool with it, more or less. So basically, I'll just say that, well, let me see. What I want to say about this. About 20 years ago, well, let's back up a little further than that. I met a woman sitting right out there. And sorry, I get a little emotional now. I'll tell you that's another thing that I found out over time. I used to not have any emotions at all. I mean, I didn't care about anybody. I didn't care if anybody died or whatever. I didn't even cry. It's sad, but I didn't even cry at my own parents' funeral, my dad or my mother or nobody. I was brought up that boys and men don't cry. But I have found out that since I have, I guess you would say, got saved the first time whenever I first met her. That was in 1976. And I got baptized. That was the first thing she done. Well, when she first met me, let's put it this way, and she told a lot of people this, that, hey, if opposite attracts, hey, we were right like that. We were totally opposite. She was going to church, and she had 2 children and 2 little babies, about a year old. Well, I'll say wild was a mild word. So anyway, whenever I got a divorce, my second one, And I just got wilder yet. So I went and I bought me a home, a trailer, a mobile home, brand new one. And because I had to have someplace to live, my wife, I give her the house. So anyway, I had two choices of a lot in this trailer park I was going to move into, which was close to where my shop was. At that time, I had a radiator shop in Shapley. So I went and looked at both of them, and I thought, I'm going to take this one. Well, when I moved in, little I know how much it was going to change my life. I mean, it turned it completely upside down from what it was. Of course, when she first met me, she couldn't stand me. She used to hate me because I'd come in 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and me and my girlfriend at that time, and wake up her kids, her babies. I mean, to say the least, was pretty loud, rowdy bunch. And so, I don't know, we just kind of, as time progressed on, I'll try to shorten this down quick because mine has only got so many minutes. Is that right? Is that right, Miner? Just got a few minutes? Can I make it longer? But anyway, so she I talked to her, but in the meantime, the life I was living was hard on anybody. You couldn't, nobody could hold up, I don't think, under the way I was living with alcohol and all the other stuff. So I just knew at one point, one day, I said, there's got to be more to life than this. My business wasn't really failing, but I wasn't paying attention to it. I was letting it go. So anyway, so I got to talking to her, and the first thing she done was, like I said, she got me to go to church. Oh boy, I'd never been to church much. I was with my grandparents when I was a little bitty kid, and I wasn't very comfortable in it. I don't know that I'm really comfortable in it now. I can do better now than I used to years and years ago. But sometimes I just feel like that, I don't know, I won't say I don't belong, but I do know that whenever I got baptized and everything, then it took another 20 years, almost, I guess, about 20 more years before I really realized, because I didn't feel any different. I just was baptized and that was it, and I didn't know, I didn't feel like anything happened to me. I was just okay. But I was a whole lot better person than I was before, or at least I think I was. And so we got along, we done fine, we raised the kids, and anyway, then she got to coming down here on Friday night with Miner and them, and she come home one night. I didn't come. It wasn't for me, I didn't think. So she come home one night, and she used to not get home till, well, the things used to run to midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. She get home about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. And one night she come in, and she said, I got a word for you tonight. Okay. And so she said, you want to hear it? And I said, well, yeah, let me hear it. Well, they started speaking things that I didn't really hardly know. Just things that they no way in the world they could know. They didn't even met me. So it just kind of triggered something, and you start going, start doing it. Anyway, so we did this, and then we started coming down here all the time, and it was like ever to church all the time. And the first time I walked in this church here, the first Sunday morning, and I think you have to feel this way before you do it, or realize it. I walked in the door, and I just felt like I was home. So it kind of touches you. Like I said, though, back up a few things. I know I'm just jumping around, but I had too many things prepared I wanted to say. But I'm going to try to get some kind of a point across here that maybe somebody can understand besides me. But Steve back there, call him Cheeseburger, but that was the first time I ever met him. He met me back there at the door and greeted me and everything, and I just felt good about it. And so then we started coming. We've been coming here now since about 22 years or so, something like that. And it just was peaceful to me. And then I've met a lot of good friends through this church. I'm not much of a person to talk out and talk to people and all that stuff. I'd like to listen more than I talk, because I think I get a better picture of who they are and how I am. But anyway, so this whole thing boils down to the thing that whenever you first get saved, don't expect you're going to get changed immediately, or at least it didn't for me. Like I said, it took 20 years before I even realized I was changed. Then all of a sudden, it just started evolving and getting more and more and more and more. And I know that Marie, my wife now, she knows my previous wife, because we used to go with my daughters for Christmas, and she would be there, and she would go with me. And I mean, we're all family friends. We're not bosom buddies, but we know each other. And she told me one time, and I don't know if she still remembers this or not, that my ex-wife said she wished that I had changed for her back then. I was a different person. You could see me, I was changed. I knew I changed, but I didn't feel any different, but I knew I changed. Anyway, I told my wife, and she told me that, and I said, well, the first thing she done was that she took me to church and got me baptized and got Christ in my life. That was the beginning. That was the first thing. And it just kept taking a long time, didn't it, hon? It kept moving me, a little at a time, moving a little at a time. So I've suffered a few setbacks and things of I had open heart surgery. I was diagnosed with cancer back in the middle 90s. That's basically when I started coming here. And they told me I was going to die then. God had another idea, I guess. Anyway, I went through this, and like I said, so I was looking at this here and thinking about things that God had done. And he used to wake me up for a long time, right after that bout with my first, mine introduced me to the Holy Spirit. That was what really started changing me in the 96 when I come down here. And right back there, I think it was, he asked me one day, he said, you ever been baptized in the Holy Spirit? I said, no, but I've been baptized, but no, I guess. I said, I don't know what they did. They just stuck me under the water, and that was it. And he said, I think he took me in the office, didn't he? And said, let me baptize you in the Holy Spirit. When he did that, that's when everything started changing. Little by little by little by little. And some of the things, I would say that they're all good, don't get me wrong, but I mean, like I said, I don't like the emotions I get sometimes now that I didn't have back then. Like when I see someone hurting or something wrong with them or whatever, I want to cry. Before that, I just didn't. I never cried. I don't remember ever crying about anything or anybody. But now, certain things, so I feel like I'm vulnerable to that. But I presume it's a good thing. If I got it, so I can't get rid of it. So I've been listening to Andrew Warmick in the morning sometime for Well, in fact, we went and seen him. I had cancer, and he was down here in Louisville. And we went out to a church that he was that preaching at. He was just basically unknown then. And I don't know if anybody knows him or not, or knows of him. And he prayed for me and all this stuff. And he told me, he said that, I don't remember what he said, I didn't have cancer, but it was going to be healed. That's to that effect. But anyway, so I said, okay. Then I started watching him here this morning. He said he was preaching on a 4-week series on You've Already Got It. And that hit me really strong. You know, everybody's got it. Do you realize you got it? Probably not. Some do, some don't. But then you don't know what degree you've got it until you start just staying in the Word and reading the Word and doing that. I'm not, by no means, a Bible expert or nothing. Because, like I said, I just seen one for first time for about mounting anything about 20 years ago. We got into this, and before that time, I just, they said she had me baptized and tried to straighten me up a little bit, and she did, and a bunch. So anyway, it says right here, and to get in the Holy Spirit, in Galatians 5:19, it's talking about the old man. Well, I was an old man for a long time. Now I'm a really old man. I'll be 80 next year. So it took me, I'm a slow learner. So anyway, I still couldn't see for a long time that I was any different. You know, I didn't look any different. I do now. I'm getting older. But I mean, inside I didn't feel no different. But then as things went on, and then I look back and I can see, oh man, I see what the old man was. The old man with all the old stuff of the world, the sexual immorality, I'm big in that. Drunkenness, I'm extra big in that. I dabbled with a few drugs off and on. Just everything was listed in there. I thought, man, you've been all that. You've been there. You've done that. A lot of people probably never even experienced none of it. So my life has been fulfilling, I will say. I've enjoyed my life the way it was, the way it is now. It's a whole lot better than it was. And it's strong. And I just feel better. And inside is peace. So here is the fruit of the Holy Spirit. And this is what mine would give me when we baptized me. Love. That I always thought I had love. I loved every girl I've seen. I mean, every time I want to walk by, boy, I love that. But love is not that. Love is totally something different. That's where I think you get this emotions and stuff comes from the love. The emotions of loving, not necessarily, I won't say one person, but an overall picture of everybody. Everybody's got something good in them, no matter what you do, Joy, I have a lot of joy now. I really do. And peace, oh, that is the best. Because I never had peace all the years before that. So patience, I'm working on that. I've got more now than I used to have. Kindness, I thought I've always been kind. I still think I am. So I'll say that's a good one. All right. Faithfulness. Boy, that one there I never had. This is my third wife, so you imagine I did the first two, I wasn't very faithful. She didn't break none of them up. I was already broke up when I met her. But I can honestly say that I have been faithfulness now for 30, since 1980, 1980, yeah, 37 years, and going on 38. Gentleness, yeah, pretty much so most of the time. Got a little stuff back. And self-control. Now, I'm working on that one too. Sometimes I lose. Most people know, I'll put it this way, nobody can make me as mad quick as she can. I mean, just in an instant. I mean, but I understand that comes from loving her, and she's loving me. And we know how to work around it, get around it, and we know how things work. So self-control, I'm working on that, and a few other things. And with God's help and the Holy Spirit and people of this church and my friends, I'll make it. I'll do fine, I'm sure. Also, I would like to finish up this story, just another little thing that I would like to share. Like I said, God used to wake me up for months. He'd wake me up at about 3, 4 o'clock in the morning sometimes, and he just started talking to me, just telling me things and everything. And sometimes I'd lay there in the bed at night, and she'd be asleep, and I'd just start crying because he was breaking out the old things off of me and out of me and bringing them out. And it went on for a long time. And then he quit. It's fine. He still talks to me. I hear voices in my head all the time. I guess you'd say a kind of a country music guy. I always did that all my life. I always listened to it. My parents, I did. And I listened to a lot of the songs that comes on. And some of them have some real meaning, and some of them are just nothing. But one of them in particular, this one song goes on, he says, I hear voices in my head. And he goes on and talks about it. And he said, I hear voices all the time. Well, if you listen and you just shut the world out for a while and just listen, you will hear voices in your head. It'll be God telling you and talking to you. You cannot go and keep running around in the world and all, and I can't, and be blasted with this all the time, the worldly stuff and all the news and all that stuff, and I can't hear nothing from God for that, because the devil's always putting something in there that you don't need. And so I stop a lot of times and just get in a quiet place and just sit down and let him speak to me. And here lately, it's back to the 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and stuff. Now I want to go to sleep now. I mean, I'm asleep, and he wakes up, and then I'll lay there for a while, and then he starts telling me things. Tell this, tell me that. And I'm doing it, and I thought, oh, man, I just want to go sleep. Leave me alone for a while, But then I get thinking, no, I don't ever want him to leave me alone. I don't want, not that. No, I want him to always stay right here, right in my heart, right in the spirit. So I thank him for that. I thank the church. I thank Brother Myman for saving my life, I would say, probably, and her. If it wasn't for that, I think I'd probably be dead by now, because it's the life I was living, nobody could have survived it for a long time. It was just too much. And I'm going to wind this down and say right here, I'm going to finish it off with this. About 2 months ago, maybe 3 now, I was asleep. I had a dream, I guess. They say old men dream dreams. Well, I had a dream. And the dream was that, I don't think I'll ever forget it. Well, I was laying on this table, or on something. I was just in a room. And it was me and one other guy here on this side, standing right up here beside me. If I get through this without crying, it'll be a miracle. And he was looking down on me. I was laying there, And everything was so peaceful. I mean, it was just, I've never felt a peace like that in my life. Felt so, I don't know, you can't explain it. But anyway, and he was looking down at me, and he told me, I said, can I just stay here? So I asked him, I said, can I just stay here? And he looked down and he said, no. He said, you've got to go back. I didn't want to. I didn't want to come back. But he said, you've got to go back. I got more things for you to do. I said, okay. I woke up. I looked around and see I was in the bed. But I don't know what that was. I mean, I know what I think it was. I'll put it this way. I feel like I had what you would call, I wouldn't say out-of-body experience, but I think I had an encounter with what God wanted. I just hope I can do what He wants me to do. I'm going to be as attentive as I can to it. We'll see how things go, how we progress down the road. If you want to know the rest of the story, stick around. And hopefully I'll still be around many, many more years, and we'll share this. And as things progress and I find out more about it, I'll be sure to come and let you know. Thank you all. Appreciate it.